Ladies and gentlemen, my name is TotalBiscuit of CynicalBrit.com, and I'm joined by the lead designer of Dominion to take a little look at this new game mode for the League of Legends game. And I'm currently looking at the summoner spells. I think the first thing we noticed right here is that we actually have some new summoner spells.
Yep, we added 2 new summoner spells for Dominion. One, our fans are probably familiar with, Promote. It was something that we had back at launch and ended up removing. We've tweaked it, reintroduced it back into Dominion. We've also added a new summoner spell called Garrison, which helps assaulting enemy points and also defending your points against attack.
Okay. Here's hoping this rune set's actually right. If it's not, this is going to be a short game on my half, but we'll see how it goes. So pick Danny for this one. Now, Dominion, for those of you who do not know, is a new game mode that's going to be available fairly soon for League of Legends, and it is a capture and hold style of gameplay. So it's the kind of thing that you'd be familiar with if you've, say, done Arathi Basin in World of Warcraft, or indeed just played Battlefield. It's basically a ticket drain system, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a 5v5, fast-paced, capture and hold style map. Object of the game is control more points than your opponent in a given time. As you do that, the health of their nexus will tick down. You are only making progress while you control more points than the opposing team.
Yes, indeed. And there's been a number of changes to this. This is not simply a new map. Perhaps some people have gotten the idea that it's merely a new map, there's been no changes, but actually, I think you're going to be surprised by some of the things you see here. The first thing I suppose we could talk about are these 2 new summoners. What exactly do these do?
So Promote, it will make one of the minions in the waves grow stronger, grow really big, and push through enemy waves. It will also give you gold anytime that minion kills an enemy minion or an enemy champion. Garrison, basically, if you use it on an enemy point, will decrease the strength of the defensive tower, allowing you to dive people on the point. If you use it on a point that you control, will basically recapture the point for you, make your tower attack twice as fast.
Okay.
As you can see right now in Dominion, you start at level 3, and we actually give players a lot more gold because we really want the game to be high-paced right out of the gate. We've also adjusted the items in Dominion. You can see right now we're looking at Prospectors, which is basically a new, more powerful type of Doran's Ring that's specific to Dominion.
Yep, I'm going to grab ourselves one of those and boost speed. Sounds fairly sensible. Do we have a health potion?
Yep.
We do, so I'll grab 2 of those.
So right now, for the first minute and a half of the game, guys are sitting in base, gives the teams an opportunity to talk about strategy, debate where they're going to attack. And you can see in the bottom right, the map is laid out in kind of a circular fashion with 5 different capture points. Typically, the game begins by people racing out of base and trying to capture as many points as possible. There's usually a big conflict between both teams at top, since it's equidistant from both sides.
Indeed. Now, you were talking about the pace of this game, and just before we started this interview, you were saying that I believe if a Dominion game goes on for longer than 25 minutes, then somebody's doing something wrong.
25 minutes is a pretty epic game. The average game time that we have is actually about 18 minutes right now.
Okay. Let's get moving, shall we? Haven't played Annie in a little while. Maybe because she keeps getting banned all the time.
Yeah.
There we go. Let's have one of those.
So we use a channel-style capture mechanic.
Okay.
Capture a point, you basically do it by right-clicking on it. All points can be enemy-controlled, neutral, or allied. And what's one of the unique things that we've done in Dominion is that if you are capturing a point and are interrupted for some reason, you've still made progress on capturing that point, making it easier to assault again.
Okay. Mundo, go that way.
All right, so the enemy team looks like they've captured top point. Since your team controls the top left point, the enemy controls the northern point, minion waves will now begin spawning between those 2 points and pushing towards each other. Minions basically serve as an additional way to capture a point. If they make it to the enemy point, they'll begin assaulting it and capturing it as well.
Okay. Let's see if we can get ourselves a misfortune. That would be wonderful. Yoink.
Nice.
Okay, down we go. Just get out of that one alive. Oh, I think we don't want a cannon anywhere near us. Thank you very much. Let's get out of that. Now, does holding these points actually give any other benefits? Say, I saw something about the idea of minor buffs and things like that to the team. How does that work?
So the capture points themselves, you control them just to make forward progress in the game.
Okay.
Periodically through the course of the game, certain points will become more important by a quest system that we've created that says, hey, capture this point before this enemy captures this other point of yours. But otherwise, no. The goal of the points are kind of equivalent in overall gameplay in terms of like why you would want to hold them. You just want to hold more than the opposing team.
I'm also noticing that blue pilling takes a lot less time.
Healing at your base also takes a lot less time. Golding comes a lot faster. We really want to try and make this a very fast-paced game.
Okay. I see myself a Heimerdinger over there. Let's go and have a look at him. Try and capture that point. So it's Gangplank dealing with that in the middle. Heimerdinger turrets. Oh, there's a misfortune waiting for me. How exciting.
So what you're walking through right now is a new type of gameplay that we added into Dominion. It's basically a speed shrine. You walk through it and you'll immediately get a short duration speed buff. It lasts about 10 or 15 seconds.
Okay.
It's great for traversing the map and sneaking around behind enemy lines.
Yep, nice and quick. Let's try and deal with that turret, shall we? Okay, I'm being shot at by that thing. So the towers themselves will actually attack you, but they don't do anywhere near as much damage as, say, the towers that you would have expected in the normal game time.
Yeah, they ramp up over time, just like kind of they do on Summer's Rift. We've tuned them, spend a lot of time trying to make sure that they're properly balanced for all types of different archetypes. They have a little bit of different mechanics, but basically as long as the point is controlled by the enemy, they will attack, and when you are in the process of capturing a point, you disable the tower from attacking.
Okay, and we can also use the garrison spell in order to reduce the amount of damage it's doing.
Yeah, it drops it by 80% right now. You can see here your minions are capturing the point along with your ally.
Okay.
You've almost neutralized the point. Okay, the point's neutral, so now if you were to assault there, there won't be any attacks done.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. Sneaky, sneaky little cannon. Respawn that. Respawn time's about the same as you would expect in Summoner's Rift?
Actually, they're much more normalized in Summoner's Rift. It's usually about 26 seconds or so to respawn, and we've implemented a different type of respawn mechanic, so it's more likely that you will respawn with other players on your team.
Okay. I'm interested to know what this is right here. That you just can actually see that on the screen. There's little notifications.
Yeah, it's a kill call-out system. Basically, it will give you instant feedback on who has killed who throughout the entire game. We've also display assist there. You can see that as a smaller icon next to that.
Yep.
So, and the red and green border represents if it was an enemy kill or an ally kill.
Okay. There we go. All is held without too much of a problem. Do I have a stun? I do not. That's unfortunate. I would like to check. Let's have a look at this promote system then. Okay.
Yep, so there you go.
Ooh, Stompy. Okay, that is a nasty little critter. So I assume that's not quite as powerful as your normal super minions that are spawned when you take down an inhibitor.
He's still pretty nasty. I think he's probably like 80% or so of that power. Like he definitely makes a difference when he's on the field.
Okay.
Nice.
Heimerdinger dealt with. Oh, I remember when Heimerdinger was such a wonderful champion. And then, of course, you took a turret away from him. Entirely justified, I might add, but I used to play Heimer, so I have a bit of a grudge. Okay. There we go.
Nice.
Always fun to get used to a laptop keyboard. I'm actually quite surprised because I have to be honest, I was not all that excited about this mode initially because I'm one of those guys that came from Dota, and I am also one of those guys that believes that the Dota map is effectively perfect, and there's not really a lot you can do with it. But what I'm seeing here is it's not just a new game mode. All of these mechanics and what you've done with it in order to speed the game up actually makes it a completely different experience, and even more so than Twisted Tree Line, for instance, which obviously has some issues.
Yeah, it's very much like a complementary experience. Summers, if you get very high-paced action, very quick battles, lots of like tactical gameplay of deciding, feints to attack this point, while your rest of your team breaks off to do another one. And so we really think there'll be a great opportunity to swap back and forth between classic gameplay on Summoner's Rift and Dominion here on Crystal Scar. Yep,
and I believe we just grabbed some kind of health regeneration buff there. I think.
We basically put health relics on the map, equivalent of kind of health packs. They respawn very quickly, about every 30 seconds or so, and whoever picks them up gets a health boost and a mana boost as well.
It's actually very, very entertaining, and that's surprising to me. I have to admit I did come into this quite cynical, and that is needless to say.
Hey, we're always happy to surprise.
Indeed. I think we need a little bit more durability. Those guys are starting to focus me now, so I'm not happy about that. Yeah, we can hang around for a few seconds. That is a wonderful, wonderful gold increase. That's the kind of thing that you would love to see in Summoner's Rift. It barely ever happens unless you've been stacking gold per 5. Yeah, that is quite nice. But yeah, the pace of this seems absolutely frantic at times. Now, how do you bearing in mind that you are starting to invest quite a lot in the competitive scene right now, and that's something that Riot has not really been doing a huge amount of up until this point. How do you see this game mode, if at all, actually factoring into competitive play?
Well, so we really want to see what our community reacts to it first when it comes out. I think, personally, that there's a lot of room here for especially coordinated teams to create really unique strategies, gambits of where they attack different points and basically push things out. Plus, one of the advantages of Dominion is you've got a very short range of time that the game can last. As we said, like the longest game of Dominion usually is about 25 minutes or so, and the average game time is 18. So that's really like a perfect game length for a competitive style scene.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so we do think that there's a lot of opportunity here for basically competitive gameplay on Dominion. We want to see how our fans react to it, react to and listen to what things they see as problems or things that are awesome about here, and then kind of shift it in that direction.
Are you concerned that with this new game mode, you're going to have issues with the meta game changing in such a way that balance is going to be a pain in the ass?
Well, so we were a little bit concerned about that originally, but as we thought about it, basically, you're looking here at Dominion, you've got a bunch of 1v1, 2v2, like 2v3 skirmishes, right? And that type of gameplay still occurs on Summoner's Rift, right? So if we can balance our champions around that type of gameplay, that just means that that gameplay will also be more fun on Summoner's Rift as well. Similarly, in Summoner's Rift, if you have if you have a champion who's only good at 5v5, it means that kind of like the first 20 minutes of the game or so, are a little boring. Similarly here, if we can make our champions fun in a 2v2 scenario, that means that the early gameplay in Summoner's Rift also will be much better.
Interesting. Now, the addition of these two summoners, was that really something that you felt had to be in this game mode, or was it perhaps something of a response to the dominance of Flash in the current state of the metagame?
Well, Flash is still enabled on the game mode, so you're more than welcome to play with it on the map. Really, what this is a reaction to is there were two summoner spells that we didn't feel were particularly appropriate to capture and hold gameplay, that being Teleport and Fortify.
Yeah.
And so since we're removing those summoner spells from Dominion, they're still in Summoner's Rift, still work exactly as they would there. We felt that there was a good opportunity here for us to create new gameplay specific for this game mode.
Okay. It does seem to work quite nicely, I have to say.
All right, so it looks like Misfortune's capturing that point. You can always interrupt a champion by doing any damage to him. You don't need to stun.
Okay. I'm getting out of there because I think Maokai is going to squish me very quickly. Let's get ourselves a rod, a little bit more lastability.
As you can see at the top of your screen, you've got a constant display of which team is currently in the lead. Right now, both teams control 2 points on the map, so neither team is making progress.
Okay, fair enough. Now, as you can see, Vision Wards unavailable, Elixirs unavailable. Are there any other item changes that I should really be looking for? Is there something that's going to be very popular on this map after your testing?
Well, so we've removed Banshee's Veil on this map, but we replaced it with a different item called Odin's Veil, which is basically a persistent magic damage reduction. It's like 10% magic damage reduction. And it also has an active where you can do a PB AoE nuke. We've also added a bunch of new items that we think are particularly suited towards ranged DPS characters. We have an item that when you attack a champion reveals them for 4 or 5 seconds. We have another item that when you attack, every fourth attack will do lightning bolt that like shoots out and hits multiple people at once.
Excellent. Okay. She'll go and deal with Maokai if we can. Rincewind is having some issues. Get over there as quickly as possible.
Itemization is one of the main ways that we see as balancing Dominion versus Summoner's Rift. So there are items here that if we put them on Summoner's Rift would be definitely too powerful. And conversely, like Banshee's Veil, that's a particularly frustrating item in a skirmish-style gameplay like this. It's also allowed us to balance the archetypes as well. So as I mentioned, ranged DPS champions. Now that we've added those items, they've actually become very successful on this map.
Interesting. And is that the kind of thing that you expect to perhaps adapt to Summoner's Reach in the future? I think perhaps a lot of people in the community do have some concerns about it. Balance is always a factor in mobile games.
Sure.
Always.
Yes.
And getting 100% balance is, of course, that pipe dream that everyone tries. And since balance is often a very subjective thing, it changes depending on what level of skill you happen to be at. For instance, Tryndamere is an extremely annoying champion in low ELO, but so it's like he's tier 4 otherwise in draft pick, and I missed that flame, and people are no doubt going to whine at me on YouTube for doing that. But get back here.
Oh, careful, that's our base. Don't go too
yes,
far.
Let's not go in there. That seems like a terrible idea. Do you see yourself adapting these items to Summoner's Rift if you feel that it gets to the point where there's so many champions it becomes very difficult to balance that you'll start balancing via items and not directly via buffs and nerfs to champions?
Well, holistically, we already do balance Summoner's Rift based on the items ourselves. If you look at our patch notes, we frequently tweak them and change modifications to them based on how we think is appropriate to the metagame. In terms of the items that we've created for Dominion, if our fans really enjoy the gameplay associated with those items, we're more than welcome to explore putting those into classic gameplay, Twisted Tree Line, Summoner's Rift as well. And that really depends on how our fans react to it.
I'm feeling very silly for sticking around here.
Yep, try to get out of there.
Working on it. I have no flash because I took the new stuff. It's okay, I'm fine.
So behind this point, bottom to right, there'll be one of those health packs that you can pick up.
Okay.
That green thing right there.
Right,
yep.
Useful. Yep, so a little bit of map knowledge is kind of required. And this is where they spawn from, these little gateways right here.
Yep.
Ooh, that might be a free Maokai.
Yeah, you got him. Nice.
There we go. That's the best kind of Maokai. This is greedy.
Oh, watch that tower.
Ah, that's what Garrison
Yep.
is for, isn't it? Oh, yes. Bang.
Nice.
There we go.
All right.
Let's get out of there now before I run out of luck.
Looks like your teammate's capturing it.
Yep. This is actually very, very enjoyable, if I'm totally honest, and that's very, very nice to see.
That's great to hear.
Yep, it could actually... we play Summoner's Rift in this say all the time. We have absolutely no interest in Twisted Tree Line whatsoever. But in this case, I think this is the kind of thing that our fixed team would probably dip into. Maybe not play full-time, but if we want something a little bit different, you know, Summoner's Rift takes its toll after a while.
Yeah. As we said, we really think that would be a great complementary experience.
Yeah,
to Summoner's Rift.
I think you might be right there. Okay, so this is Odin's Veil. Do you expect to see this item become available in Summoner's Rift, or is this going to be strictly Dominion?
At release, it will be strictly Dominion.
Okay. This is the effects for it, folks. 350 health, 350 mana, 50 magic resistance. Reduces and stores 10% of the magic damage, and then deals that stored magic damage to nearby enemy units. That's an active, so let's get that on one, shall we? There we go. We'll quickly capture this one.
Yep.
Okay.
One thing we've done.
Oh, Rammus.
It's a giant Rammus.
It is a giant Rammus. Wild Rammus appears. He doesn't have friends, though, so...
No, I
think
think
it's
you
about
guys
5.
got him.
There we go, down he goes. Excellent.
So in the center of the map, we have 2 greater relics, one for each team. And that Rammus had his team's one. It basically increases the size of your champion, gives them a large regenerating shield. It also makes all of their attacks and spells do lightning damage every 4 seconds. It basically makes you really powerful for like 50 seconds or so.
Fair enough. That's good to me. I might try and take out this.
So you guys are currently in the lead, but you're slowly losing ground since they don't control 3 more points.
Let's see what we can do about that. We're doing to kill this Heimerdinger.
Careful.
Yep, I do not have...
If you, in situations like this where it's a 2v1, one thing that's usually really useful is for one player to try and capture the point, which will prevent that tower from attacking, and then the other player can dive the champion and have that engagement.
Yep. That's something that would be useful in Summoner's Rift and there for fighting. Just poke the tower and suddenly it stops shooting at us. That'll be nice. And I'm noticing this entire game I have farmed nothing. Nothing whatsoever. Like creeps they are a hindrance because of that. But I'm not farming creeps in any way, shape or form. And that's been one of the biggest complaints. I mean, I'm sure you read the complaint from your #1 player. He wasn't exactly eloquent in it, but he was saying that, you know, it became a farm fest, and that as a result that he didn't like it so much. And I mean, this just seems to be a direct answer to that, as far as I can tell.
In this case, minions are a means to an end. They're not something that you farm just for the sake of getting gold. You interact with the minions specifically because they are the best way to assault a point at a time. They're particularly useful in Dominion in the case where there is a defender on the point. Yeah. Because unlike champions who can be interrupted in their channel by attacking them, minions can only be stopped by killing them. Right.
Okay.
So they frequently can be used, particularly if you're pushing a large wave like you were, to neutralize a point underneath the champion. Yeah. So that then you can fight them on even ground. But yes, we've heavily de-emphasized the idea of farming in this game.
Yeah, that's a very, very good thing. I think a lot of people will definitely be happy to hear that. And yes, I got my combo wrong. You can stop complaining on YouTube now.
I think you got him.
We might. There we go.
Nice.
Okay. You got friends. I'm out of here. Yeah, it's fairly rare that I run from Heimerdinger, but in this case, I think we're going to have to do that. You saw me earlier using the Odin's Veil. That would appear to be an area of effect damage attack.
PB AoE.
So that's actually very, very nice. That's an incredibly effective thing. So, okay, what is this?
So that is your team's greater relic that Rammus will probably attack you to prevent you from capturing it right now. But that's a shield that I was referring to that gives you damage protection and also a lightning buff with all of the damage that you do.
Okay, he looks like he is very, very happy to see Tibbers. I almost have the feeling that he let me grab that. There we go.
Nice. And so that's the
enemy one. Yep. So we want to try and prevent them from grabbing that. So have a look at this buff right here. There you go. That's health shield. And the effect recharges, and that's the rest of it. Pretty
so
strong.
525 max right now. Yep. And that scales per champion level.
Yep. And this aura right here represents all of the cool stuff that you get by just being on Crystal Skull, all of the accelerated effects.
Yeah, one of the so we primarily balance champions through items, but the other way that we did it is through a set of small map rules changes, and that buff describes what they are. So it's things like all the champions on this map have increased armor penetration, as an example, because we wanted to make sure that tanky DPS weren't like the way to go to all the time.
Okay. Get off.
And that's percent armor penetration as well.
Okay.
Yep.
Make sure we stop that from happening.
Yeah, so that's a case where he was neutral. He was stopped from capturing the point, but the minions he had pushed there ended up allowing him to neutralize the point.
Okay. Well, we can grab that back nice and easy.
Pretty close. It looks like you guys have a 30-point lead on the enemy team, and you're two capture points up.
Yep, I see a Rammus over there, and I even have ulti. And we can actually land the combo properly.
One other thing you can notice is in the top right, where we normally display KDA, we've actually replaced with a new scoring system.
Okay.
Because we feel that in Dominion, how well you're doing isn't just encapsulated by your KDA.
But KDA,
how much do you capture points? How many times do you stop enemies? How well do you support your teammates? And so we've encapsulated that into a new scoring system. KDA is still available in the scoreboard, but we really think that that's a better way to represent how well players are doing. The icon that you have next to your score represents you're currently the third best player on your team.
Okay. Not too bad for the first attempt.
No, not bad at all. Nice.
Let's see what we can do to that. Get back here. Kennen. No.
Oh, so close.
No flash. That's misfortune for you. And I don't have...
if you can get that Tibbers, you might...
maybe.
Grab the health back.
Yep, let's make sure that he doesn't get that. Yeah, the denial of buffs also seems to be a very important thing as well.
Definitely true. You always want to pick those up anytime you run by them.
Yep. Oh, Kennen.
Oh, so close.
This was probably a bad idea. Suicidal diving. Oh, well, never mind. We've almost got this by the looks of it. Very, very close to it.
Yep.
And our game time is currently 19 minutes 53. And as you can see, the ticket count is very, very close and very, very low as well. So I actually can barely see a scenario, unless you had a lot of neutral points all the time because of constant denial, where you would get to this point. Ooh, 3 Rabadons. There we go.
Yeah, we've played about 200, 300 games of Dominion in the office at this point. And literally the longest game we have ever seen was like 25 minutes and 50 seconds. The games really really good close games tend to be about 21 minutes in length, with the average game length about 18.
Yeah. I have to say this would be very, very nice to see at MLG. It really, really would. I know some people have expressed concern about the length of games in general, and that's not really a problem for MLG, of course, because they can play for a very long time. But
sure. But you still have to plan around it, right?
Yeah, exactly. This would be nice. This allows more teams to compete. This allows more games to be played, which, of course, is just more exciting for everybody.
Yeah, we've just started training some of our in-house shoutcasters on shoutcasting for Dominion.
Yep.
And they say that there's so much excitement, so much intensity going on the map. It's actually like crazy. They're like running at 100% all the time, just trying to capture everything.
That's exactly how it should be. We don't want any weak and feeble shoutcasters, do we? We need them to be on the ball all the time, and it needs to be an exciting experience. Speaking of shoutcasting, incidentally, I do keep having to ask this. Are there actually any plans for an official replay system where we do not need to use the unofficial client?
Yeah, so spectator mode, which you saw at DreamHack, is basically one of the features that we're focusing on right now. And then once that's come out, it's kind of like the first step in getting replays out to the customers and players.
That's good. That is very good to hear indeed. And I believe you guys are investing $5 million in the prize pool for Season 2.
We just announced that yesterday, I believe.
Yep.
And we really want to see the esports community grow. So we felt that by investing $5 million in the entire Season 2 tournament and putting it not in just like one big prize pool, but spreading it out through lots of smaller local tournaments, it'd be a great way to get everyone involved and trying to get lots of money to a bunches of different players and bring up the investment by the entire community.
Definitely sounds like a good idea to me. And what would you say, and this is a chance to answer critics, there is always a raging debate, of course Dota 2 is on the horizon, Heroes of New Earth has been around for a while, that League of Legends in terms of a competitive gaming experience is perhaps lagging behind somewhat. How would you answer that? What does Riot intend to do to make sure that is not the case?
Well, I think if you watched DreamHack and saw how that went down, our spectator mode and the other modifications that we have coming out will really help push that competitive angle down. I think if you look at the investment that we just announced with $5 million to the Season 2 tournament structure, that shows that we're committed at Riot to really push forward and grow the esports scene for League of Legends. Okay, then.
We are almost done here. Got the cap there. Let's try and push to the top. They've grabbed another one. We can't have that. We'll go and see if we can nab this one, I think.
Oh.
Yep, our Wild Rammus appears. The Wild Rammus gets mostly incinerated. Let's cap that to make sure Mundo's not. That's actually Gangplank.
So
yeah.
one small feature of when you use Garrison on a point that you control, which that Rammus just
Yep.
did, it also interrupts any champions who are currently capturing it.
Okay. Yes, indeed, you are right. And it gives massive regeneration and attack speed. You can. They really do not want us to have that, do they?
Well, it's so close, man. If you capture this point,
Yep.
it's pretty much game over for them.
Yep. I am having it. There we go.
All right, if you can hold those 3 points for like 16 more seconds, looks like you guys have won the game.
Yep, well, we just took a few out right there, so they really don't have...
Oh, you got Heimerdinger capturing bottom left.
Yes, and of course, because we do not have teleport, it's difficult to get there, but we can use this speed boost right here in order to get there slightly quicker.
And so this is something that we actually see a lot in Dominion. It looks like one team's about to lose, and then someone
Dramatic
gets a really
combats.
clever play
Yeah.
that ends up tying the game up again.
Yeah, which is, of course, that is actually what you want if you kind of want this to be a spectator esport.
Right now, it looks like the Rammus is also taking the top left point, which has pulled their team ahead in terms of capture points. So even though they're at 8 points, it's still possible for them to win this game.
I think I can flank around the side and maybe get out of range of it.
It's
Don't have a lot of HP. Let's find out.
you guys have to capture some points.
Yeah, I'm going to grab this one right now. The Heimerdinger turret is actually not there. Come on, come on, come on. We've got nothing left. They're doing this on purpose, aren't they? They're going to pull it back at the last minute. Okay, let's neutralize this.
Nice. So the tick down is basically, as you would expect, the speed at which the tick down occurs is based on
how much
difference,
the
total number of different points,
Okay. Mundo caps as he pleases.
So if you guys neutralize that, you'll be tied up again. It looks like it's 14 to 8.
Yeah, I'm going to cap this. And multiple heroes capping does make it quicker, right?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
It's not a doubling, but it's like 30% and 40%.
Right.
It's still useful to do it.
This is very, very close indeed.
You guys are tied up again. You are in the lead by only 3 points. A giant
That is not a giant tree appears. No, not that. Not that. Absolutely not. Use the speed boost to try and escape from that. The problem is I'm now going to try and defend this from him.
Yeah, try using Garrison on your capture point. It'll make him stronger and help you take him down.
Yep. Admittedly, I'm going to need a little bit more than that. There we go. Get back here. Bloody tree.
Oh, you made it.
We got it. We got it. There we go.
Nice.
Very you've even got a new animation there. Fantastic. Very, very nice. That is actually a lot of fun, and that surprises me, which is cool.
That's awesome to hear.
Always nice to be actually surprised by that. There's our victory screen for it right there.
Yeah. And so a number of the features that we've improved in Dominion will actually go out and affect the entire game. As you can see here, we have a new end-of-game screen.
Yeah, it's a little nicer.
Crisper layout. We've changed the grid graph. That will all be transferred over to Summoner's Rift as well.
Yep.
And Twisted Tree Line.
Second on the team, not too shabby.
13 points captured, 6 neutralized.
6 points neutralized, yep.
Yeah. Most
There's
on
the
your team
KD and the assists. Not that that's really all that relevant, but people like to fawn over it anyway. And that, as they say, is that. And we actually have grids and graphs as well. There we go.
Yeah, so we changed the interface around on this. So for people who really like to deep dive into stats, they can compare.
Yeah, no kidding. This is a lot of graphs right here. I'm impressed. That's a lot of information available. There you go. If you want to overanalyze, folks, this will allow you to do just that. Time spent dead. That's a useful stat. Especially if you want to take the piss out of your team. A lot of stats available right here. Fantastic. Good stuff. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. There's your first look and, I believe, first unofficial commentary of League of Legends Dominion. That's the mode that you can expect. And I suppose the last question on that regard would be, what kind of estimated time of arrival are we expecting for this?
Well, so obviously we're showing it hands-on here at Gamescom. We're showing it hands-on at PAX next week. And I think the quality of the product kind of speaks for itself in that regard. It
does seem very, very slick at this point. It really, really does. So we can expect it fairly shortly.
No comment.
No comment. Fairly shortly, perhaps, folks. Well, there you go. That is League of Legends Dominion, the new 5v5 capture the point mode, which will be available sometime shortly. If you happen to be playing that game, and if you're not already playing that game, then please feel free to click my referral link because I'd like my 10K. Thank you very much, folks, and thank you for co-commentating. Very much appreciated. And we will see you next time.